Hello everybody. Happy Sunday. Let's do a little Q&A. So I've been compiling the questions I've gotten and we're going to go through some of these. So if I don't address a question you've left on a video or somewhere on one of my social media pages, I'm sorry. Please comment on this video and I will do another Q&A. But these are the ones that I did receive and I wanted to talk about them. So to start off, we're going to do more of the personal questions and then we'll follow up with the JW religion questions that I received. So are you ready for this? Let's do this thing. I had a question come through about wondering what it feels like to celebrate a birthday now. Do you get excited and look forward to it? Is it more just for your children? So we are only 2 years into being gone and celebrating birthdays, and my kids' birthdays absolutely look forward to. I get super excited. I try to do the best, most amazing thing I can possibly give them in that moment. It feels weird still a little bit to celebrate your own birthday. And I think that comes from a place of being a Jehovah's Witness. It's like having all eyes on you, or like you being celebrated for some reason always felt kind of strange because one, birthdays are not celebrated. You don't celebrate any holidays. The extent of celebrations as a Jehovah's Witness you have are going to be one, when you get baptized. And that turns into like, here's a custom Bible for you and let's have a meal with our friends to celebrate that. The next thing you would celebrate is like your wedding. So you'd have like wedding showers, like bridal showers, personal showers, that kind of stuff. And then your actual reception, which you will get like gifts and stuff. That's kind of like the biggest celebration you're going to have in your life as Jehovah's Witness. You can then also celebrate your baby showers. But again, like baby showers are not 100% like focused on you. It's like, people are buying stuff for the baby and they're excited for that. And that's beautiful and amazing. But the only time like full attention is on you is like at your wedding. And even then, like they always tell you like to be modest in your celebrations and, not do too many worldly traditions with that. And I don't know, it's different. So getting to celebrate your birthday feels very strange. The first year I didn't know what to do. So like my daughter's was the first birthday, mine was the next one. And it was right after Christmas. My birthday's in January. And I was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't really want anything. I didn't want gifts. I didn't even want a cake. My husband planned like a day to go to brunch because I love doing brunch. And that was kind of like my birthday celebration. This year I was a little bit more like, I want to celebrate it a little bit more. And we went out to dinner and I went out with some of my friends for like a little happy hour, and it still feels weird, like being celebrated, I guess, but I'm getting more used to it, I guess. I'm looking more forward to years to come and like just doing more stuff for them. I'm never gonna probably be like, let's have a big birthday party for myself, but it does feel good to just, have fun with it, I guess. My husband's birthday was this weekend, and we surprised him with a cake on Friday night. So his birthday was technically Saturday because we were going out Saturday and we were going to have the kids being babysat. So I got a cake Friday night. We sang happy birthday to him. And then Saturday we woke up and gave him just like a little gift and cards. And then we went out to dinner, me and him, and it was just like very nice. He said it was like the most relaxing day ever. So I think he even kind of enjoyed it. Last year he had shingles on his birthday and was miserable. So his first birthday didn't even count because he was like dying in bed. So my long-winded answer, it does feel weird celebrating yourself and celebrating your birthday. I'm getting more used to it. And I will say that I will probably forever look forward more to my kids versus mine, but it's still just kind of nice. Like, it's sad that it's not something that is celebrated because like, why shouldn't you celebrate the day you were brought into this world? It's strange. So there's the answer to that one. I had another question on the tattoo on my shoulder. So they're little birds. This is the first tattoo I got. Jehovah's Witnesses, it's not like full on forbidden to have tattoos, but it's very frowned upon because it is you know, worldly looking and showing that you don't respect your body, I guess. I don't know. So when we left, I got some tattoos. I have 7 total, like, smaller tattoos, and that was the first one I got. So that is 4 little birds, like, flying away. And for me, it was the significance of, like, our family of 4 breaking free from the cult we were raised in and finally getting to, like, live a free life. So that's what my little birds are for. I love them. I also have this little guy here. This is just an L for my husband. I have my kids' initials, and just this is kind of for them as well. I have a sun on the back of my arm. That comes from a Bluey episode. If you're a parent, you know Bluey. There's an episode in it where they are, one of the little kids in it is having a dream, and her mom is the sun. And I'm like, I love that because I do think moms are kind of like the sons of their family. So I got that. And then I have one on my ankle. I'm not going to lift my foot up to show you that one, but it's a lotus flower, which is like about rebirth and being reborn. And I love the concept of that. So I have more I want to get, but tattoos are expensive and I'm saving up for them. And I still haven't decided exactly what I want or where I want it. So I'm going to wait until I can figure that one out. So anyways, that's my little birds. I love that one. Okay, another question I got was, how did you go about restarting your life after you left JW's? Steps on what to do. So, I feel like the first thing I did was, and I've talked about this in other videos, I joined a mom's group locally. And that was just to, one, find friends for me and my children, and to get myself out of my comfort zone of like kind of being a very introverted person. And I wanted to find friends and be around people weekly, not in a church setting, since that was all I was used to. And that was really helpful. I think I've kind of showing myself that like there are really great people out there, and making friendships based off of like nothing more than personalities, and like, you know, I don't have to be your friend if I don't want to be, kind of thing. But I fell into like an amazing group of women, and it was just kind of eye-opening, coming from being told the world is bad and no one is nice in it. They're all fake, they're all evil, whatever, sinners, you know how the Jehovah's Witnesses talk. But to see these really great people who were there for you and who want to be there for you, and who were compassionate about your story, it was very eye-opening. So I would say, for those leaving, try and find yourself friends. Get yourself around people. You know, as a mom, I think that's actually kind of easier because you can find moms groups. So I found mine through Facebook. I just started like searching the Facebook groups and like searching moms group and our area, and I found this. So it's actually something called Moms Club. I'll put it up on the screen here. Moms Club is like nationwide official like moms group. So women can open up a chapter in their area, and you have like an annual fee of like $30 to be in this group, to be a member of this group. They have like a full-on board in your group. So we have like a president, vice president, treasurer, all that stuff. I just love how it's run because it's very official, and they're very focused on having groups get together, like play dates weekly, multiple kind of things going on every week, so that every mom in the group can find something that they can go to during the week. It's just a really great way to support each other and have like a community, and to build your like tribe around you, especially for moms like me who lost everyone, or say you moved out of state and you don't have family or friends by you. You can like kind of have that built-in community. So I love this group. But again, if you look on Facebook, there's a million groups. Usually in the area, it'll be like your city's, you know, moms groups or whatever. So highly suggest doing that if you don't have kids. I feel like that might be a little bit harder, but then also maybe not, because then you can just start going places you like to be and just try and put yourself out there. You know, introduce yourself to people, or find people that like doing stuff you do. So maybe you're somebody who likes to go to concerts and you go to them frequently. Like, just start introducing yourself to people around you. That's one big tip I would have, is start finding friends, start finding a community, because it's going to make it a lot less difficult to leave and lose the community you do have. And you're going to be building a community of people who you want in your life and who want to be in your life. The other thing that was extremely helpful for me was therapy. I will yell that from the rooftops. If you do not have therapy going yet, you need to get therapy. The trauma you go through leaving Jehovah's Witness world is intense, and I just don't see how anyone can fully get through it, especially like the really hard beginning part of leaving, without help from a therapist. So very highly suggest finding a therapist and doing it regularly and talking through everything and getting the help you need, because it is insane leaving that world. So those are kind of my two big tips. And the other tip would be find things you love to do. And like for me, it was like the tattoos. Start doing those things that in your mind you've always wanted to do, because it's kind of reiterates to yourself, like, it's amazing that now I get to like make choices on my own, if that makes sense. I feel like that doesn't make sense, but just do stuff that you were told you can't do. Whatever that may be. Maybe it's tattoos, maybe it's piercings, maybe it's going to concerts you couldn't go to, maybe it's watching movies you couldn't see, reading books you weren't supposed to read, like something that you love to do but that you felt you were kind of sheltered from or weren't allowed to do, and start diving into that, because I feel like it just allows you to figure out who you want to be, and starts giving you your life back. Because I feel like in that organization, you have no say over what you're doing in life. You're just kind of going through the motions, and it's time for you to finally take control again and live the life you want to live. So, yeah. Anyways, I just remembered something. I have another tattoo on my back. I always forget about this one. It's back on like my shoulder blade area, or it's back here, and it just says live the life you want to live. The reason why I thought, or no, what does it say? Live a life you will remember. That is the quote. I have that on my back. I probably should have put it somewhere I could see it more, because I constantly forget I have it, unless it's the summertime and I'm like, oh, there's a tattoo there. I forgot about that. But it kind of goes along with what I was just saying. Like, live your life you want. Live a life you're going to remember. I don't even know how to word this right, but it's like, I don't want to be on my deathbed and looking back and being like, I should have done this, I should have done that, I should have tried this, I should have done that. Like, I'm going to live in the here and the now. I'm going to do everything I can to make this life very memorable, so that on my deathbed I can look back and realize that I lived my life to its fullest. So do that. That's a really great way to rebuild your life outside of it. And that was long-winded. If that didn't make sense, I don't know. Therapy, find friends, find a community, do things you never could do before, and prove to yourself that you're capable of making decisions for yourself, and it's going to turn out okay. So I had the question of, would you vote in an election now? Yes, and I have. So we left July of 2023, and that November we had like local elections, like in our area that we voted in, and we also voted for like the big presidential election, and that was really cool, like to be a part of that. In the JW world, I never really paid attention to politics, because to me it wasn't necessary, because the end was coming and who cares what's happening. It's been very nice to be able to be more in tune to that, paying closer attention to that, and feeling like you have a slight voice in everything and the choices that are being made in the country you live in. So I will continue to vote. For now, it's just nice to be a part of it and to have a voice, and do something that was like viewed as so wrong, which is stupid that it's wrong, because decisions being made, especially like local ones, where it's like tax things being passed, like why wouldn't I have a say in that when I'm supposed to be paying my taxes? So there's that. I had the question of, do your children understand what's going on? So this is going to be kind of a long one, I think, to answer. They do and they don't. My son has no idea. So when we left, he wasn't even 2 yet, so he doesn't have any memory of life before leaving. My daughter does have some memories. So when we first left, she had a lot of questions of why she wasn't seeing grandparents, and we would have to like find a way to explain it to like a 3-year-old brain, like why we weren't seeing them. And like the best way we did that was just telling her, because we were very much in that stage of like kind of teaching her, you know, good people versus bad people, or people we don't feel are safe to be around, or like kind of that stranger danger stuff. You're teaching young children to keep them safe. And we just kind of told her that, like, you know, grandma and grandpa, Nana, whatever, they were not being kind. Therefore, we didn't view them as safe, because like she's very smart and knows, like, you're supposed to be kind to everyone. You're supposed to treat everybody nicely, from your little baby brother to like people and friends you're around to mom and dad. So like she kind of had that concept in her head of like being kind, and how like if you can't be kind, then maybe you're not the kind of person we want to be around. And like we kind of worded it to her in the sense of like, we just don't think they're safe people to be around right now until they can be kind again. So I would say probably like the first 6 to 8 months, she would like go through these stages of like, it seemed like she'd forget about it, and then she'd be like, why haven't I seen so and so, or where have they been? And then she'd be like, we'd reiterate, like, you know, remember, they're not being kind right now, and we just don't think they're safe to be around. And you know, hopefully one day that will change. It has shifted, so she would have questions even. She asked like a couple times the last couple years, like, how come we don't go to those like meeting things anymore where I'd see friends? And I was like, we just would tell her, like, you know, we just don't think, we don't believe in that anymore. We don't think that like we should be going there anymore. It's hard to explain to such a small child without it being confusing to them. So we just kind of answer as easily as possible. And then there will be conversations that come up, like the first Christmas we celebrated, our first birthday, and she'd be like, how come we haven't done this before? And I would always tell her, you know, we thought that these were wrong to do, and we found out they weren't wrong. So that's why we're doing it now. And now she's starting to like kind of connect the dots in a little bit. So she recently had a conversation with me. We always have like our talk time before bed where I like ask her if she wants to talk about anything, or ask her how her day was. And she brought up my mom. And it was weird because she didn't call her what she normally calls her, which is Nana. And she was like, what were we talking about? Let me think about this. It was like right before Easter, I think. And she was like, did you like Easter when you were little? I was like, I didn't celebrate those things. And she was like, oh, so your mom wasn't nice. And I was like, well, no, that's not it. I'm like, my mom just thought that they were bad to celebrate holidays, and it was bad to celebrate birthdays, and that it wasn't a good thing to do. So she's starting to kind of connect the dots, I think, about like, oh, mom and dad were raised totally differently. And oh, now I kind of understand like why we get to do this and things have changed and shifted. So I think she has somewhat of a comprehension of what has happened, but I don't think she'll ever fully understand until she's much older and we can have like a legit conversation with her about it. And I think that's how it should be. I don't think they need to be weighed down with the full story until they're more than capable of kind of carrying that weight. And that may be never. I mean, we may always shield them a little bit from the full depth of the story. I don't know what we'll see when the time comes and they're older and asking questions. But for now, they do know that like we aren't seeing family because they're not being kind, and therefore they're not people we want in our lives. And she will ask every once in a while, like, are they being kind yet? And I'll be like, not really. And now, because we've gained family and friends that are like family, she'll be like, it's okay. We have family who loves us. And I'm like, you're right, we do. Like, that's all we need in life. So, long-winded story there, but my son doesn't comprehend anything, and I'm kind of glad for that. My daughter does for a little bit of it, but like not the full depth of it, and I'm okay with that. Because again, she's so little, she doesn't need to be weighed down with the full trauma of all of that. So I had a few questions of people like asking what my religion is now, or if I still view myself as Christian, you know, if I have a relationship with Jesus. So I will say, when we first left, I was kind of angry at God, and I was kind of the mindset, I was never atheist. I was very agnostic feeling, where I was like, I just don't think I need to know who God is, who the creator is, whatever the power is in this universe. Like, I don't think I need to know that, and I'm going to be fine with that. But as I've healed and as I've kind of, I think, grown outside of that religion, my anger has subsided. And now it's not anger at all. Like, I know that there's something bigger than me. There is a God, there is a creator, there is something. Um, Again, don't think I'll ever believe the God I was taught is real. And I don't know if I want to, because I feel like the God they teach is not a very kind, loving God. Um, I do believe Jesus was a good man, and I've been reading the Bible more, and I love the concept of Jesus actually being God, since that's not what we were taught, because he is much more loving than the God we were taught. And I feel like I'm on a spiritual evolution path right now, where every day my thoughts shift a little bit, but I am leaning much more Christian, I would say. Um, will I ever be someone who is like a churchgoer again, or attached to some denomination? I don't think so. Like, at this stage in life, that's not something I want. I strongly feel I can have a relationship with God by reading the Bible and by speaking directly to God through prayer. And I feel like at this point, that's appealing to me. Um, my husband and I have talked a little bit. We have a non-denominational church up the road from us that actually, like, a lot of the women in my mom's club like go to, or they take their kids to like the preschool program they have there. And I would be interested to go and just see what a service is like there, because it's so, from what I'm seeing, like, they have a YouTube channel and stuff. It's just so polar opposites from what we were taught. They're very much about community. They're very much about helping out the community, and like, that's appealing to me. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll go and see, and I'm not sure where I land. I know I'm not atheist. I know I'm not really agnostic anymore. Um, do I call myself Christian? Not really, but I'm also like not, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like it's too soon in my entire journey to like commit one way or the other, but I definitely have been enjoying like looking at the Bible and reading it for myself, and just kind of seeing where I go. I'm very much about following like where I feel like a tug. And right now I have a very big, strong pull towards God. So I'm like, I'm going with it. Maybe that's God speaking to me. I don't know. I'm not like in a rush again to find a religion again or a church again. I want to like approach this new journey of researching and reading the Bible. I want to do it in a very intentional way. So I'm taking my time, and I'm going to see where life leads me. And again, I'm listening very much to that inner voice, that inner pull, and I'm going with it. So that's where I am with all of that. With that being said, I did have some questions about, do you believe that the Holy Spirit is God's power or a person? Again, I was taught that the Trinity was wrong. So they talked about how the Holy Spirit was God's active force. Therefore, it wasn't a person, it was just God's power. Um, I lean more that way, but again, I haven't done enough research to make a decision one way or the other. That will come with time, I know that, and more studying of the Bible. Another question was, do I believe in hell? Or do I think that there is just a person being that's killed and turned off like a robot? Which Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in a soul. They think that once you die, the body is just in a deep sleep, pretty much. I have never loved that concept, to be honest. And I also don't really believe in hell. I don't think a loving God would do that. Something that I lean towards is I do think there's a soul. I feel like there's too many stories of people with like near-death experiences that saw like almost like their bodies from above. People who have lost someone and felt like they could almost feel the soul of that person leaving the body. Like, there's just too many things that happen in life for me to like not think a soul exists. So I do think there's a soul. Where that soul goes, I don't know. I hope that like I find comfort in the thought that like your dead loved ones can see you from somewhere and are watching over you, or you have like guardian angels, or spirits that are like your guides, and I like that idea. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a hell. I don't think I believe in a hell. I don't really want to believe in hell. I would like to think that there is a heaven, though, or some sort of realm that spirits can still be there and watch over people. But again, I'm on a journey. So I do not believe, though, that it is just a body that dies and it's done. Like, I don't think that's the case at all. One thing I actually really like the concept of is like reincarnation, and the thought that if you die, you can like be reincarnated in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I kind of like that idea, but I don't know. I don't know what I believe. Anything spiritual related, like my beliefs and stuff, it's so up in the air still. So I'm probably going to ramble a lot and not make any sense, but I am in the process and on a journey to figure out what I believe. And we'll see where I end up with that. So, someone asked if I have a relationship with Jesus. I still feel like, because I'm looking at God's word and I'm reading the Bible, I hope I do. And if Jesus is God, I hope he sees my heart and I'm trying to get to know him the right way. So, someone asked if I've repented and asked Jesus in my heart. Again, I'm on such a journey. I don't know if I've necessarily repented. I feel like I am asking for guidance. Again, I've been reading the Bible a lot more, and I've had a few instances of like just kind of opening it up and it going directly to something that it's like, okay, I think God is speaking to me because I needed this right now. So I don't know. Let's see. Someone asked if there are certain food restrictions as Jehovah's Witnesses. So none, except for you can't have anything with like blood in it. So like blood sausage. But other than that, no, there's no food restrictions, like nothing like that. They also asked if they could drink alcohol. Yes, and Jehovah's Witnesses drink a lot of alcohol. So they cannot smoke cigarettes or nicotine. They are not supposed to do any sort of recreational drugs, but alcohol is okay. And they would say within obviously reasonable limits. But the issue is, in that religion, I think it's more common than not for over drinking to be a really big issue. So I can say the amount of alcohol that we would drink at like families' homes for families' dinners or like gatherings is 100 times more than we drink now. So alcohol is a big thing there, which is crazy. Because in the Bible, there are actual scriptures that say like drunkenness is not okay. A drunkard will not inherit God's kingdom. And yet they still drink a lot and kind of turn a blind eye to it. So it's weird. This was an interesting one. So someone said, why do they separate themselves from the world in multiple ways, but they sure do love tax cuts? That's a great question. I have no idea why they do it. My only thought is, so they do talk a lot about paying back Caesar's things to Caesar and God's things to God. So you were supposed to be a law-abiding citizen. You were supposed to pay your taxes. And in my head, because of that, they probably just say that like, well, we pay taxes, therefore we are owed tax cuts. And that has been a big reason why like the Norway case specifically has been fought so hard by them, is because they lost those like tax benefits, the money from the government they were getting in and the subsidies and whatever, because they lost their registration. And it's like they were fighting for that because they wanted it so bad. It was like a lot of money that they were losing out on every year by not being a registered religion. So I guess they do it because they feel like they're owed it because they pay taxes and they're people, they tell them to pay taxes. But it is kind of strange that they like will go so crazy about tax cuts and everything when they're supposed to be no part of this world. So I don't know. That's weird. Let's see. Someone asked, are there still Tuesday night book studies in people's homes? No, there hasn't been for a very long time. I can't remember when that stopped, but I think it was like the 2000s when Bible study like in people's homes went away. Our book study went away. So no, they haven't done that in a very long time. Now the only thing in people's homes would be like if a house in their family host like a service group on Saturday morning, which in like our area there's a group that meets at the Kingdom Hall, and then there's a bunch of different homes where people meet and like go out, figure out their plans for the field ministry and go out from there. So do they still publish new books? I don't know, honestly. So since we've been out, I can't think of any new books that have been published. They really seem to be leaning more into their like broadcast and like their JW like TV stuff. It's almost like books and stuff are out and now they're just doing videos. So they had a Jesus movie they made that just came out, I think. So that's like the biggest release that they've had, I think, recently. Do they still have circuit assemblies? Yes, they have 2 circuit assemblies a year. They used to be 2-day, now they're only 1-day. So you have like a 1-day circuit assembly in the spring and one in the fall. Do they still have circuit overseers? Yes, they do. They still have them, and I don't think I talked about circuit overseers in my like JW lingo video, but circuit overseers are the men who are, the best way I can say is like the regional manager. So you have like your congregation, you have your elders, ministerial servants, and then you have like a regional manager who will travel around to the different congregations within his territory to like visit with them for a week, and he does like special talks and is just there to be encouraging. So they still have those for now, but I don't know, that could change at some point because circuit overseers are you know, paid for. They have their homes are paid for, their cars are paid for, their health insurance is paid for. Like they get a certain amount of money every month, I think, from the branch. So I don't know. Somebody else brought up the 1914 generation, which again, that's going to have to be a fully separate video. I'm actually going to start doing research on that because I truly do not understand that. They said the generation of that 1914 group, so the witnesses that were alive during 1914, would not pass before the end of the system came. Okay, so that's been now over 100 years ago. So those people obviously are gone. But they then changed the understanding. They had new light that there would be overlapping generations. So basically, from my understanding, which again, I never fully understood this, people who were like had any sort of overlapping of that generation of the 1914 people, Jehovah's Witnesses. So it could literally be like you were born the day or 2 before one of those people died kind of concept. Like then it wouldn't be until that next generation died. But again, they're running out of time with this. So I need to do some major personal study on that and do a video on it because it is so confusing. I also had questions on like, why do Jehovah's Witnesses not celebrate holidays? Now for this one, I'm pulling out the big guns. I'm going into Watchtower Online, which is Jehovah's Witnesses library, to explain this in their words, because to me, it is so stupid and makes no sense. Birthdays are not celebrated, which, okay, let's wrap our head around this, shall we? They bring out a few reasons. So one, because there were not any biblical stories of true Christians celebrating their birthdays. Therefore, they came to the conclusion that birthdays were probably wrong, because if they weren't wrong, then God would have a case of a birthday being celebrated by like Jesus, for instance, okay? The only 2 instances of birthdays in the Bible were non-believers and bad people. So like King Herod and Pharaoh, I think, were the 2 birthdays that were celebrated. And terrible things happened at those birthdays. So like John the Baptizer was beheaded at a birthday. So again, that took them to the conclusion that birthdays are wrong. Another thing that they bring out in like one of these articles, I can't remember which one it was exactly, I'm looking for it again, but they talked about how like birthdays give too much self-glory, which again, like, why is it wrong to celebrate the day you were born? Like, it's strange to me. And they even talk about how it would be better, like, celebrating your death is better than celebrating your birth, because at your death, you can look back and see that you were faithful to God, and that is something to be celebrated. But again, let's think about this. For the most part, the real big celebrations of birthdays are for your children. Why wouldn't you celebrate that? Like, children deserve to be celebrated. They changed your life. They made your life better. They gave you purpose. So why is that so villainized? It's crazy. It's just, when you actually take a step back from that. So as a kid, you're raised like, it's bad. Like, look at the Bible. The only two birthdays in the Bible were terrible. John the Baptist was beheaded and his head was served on a platter. So therefore, that means God hates birthdays and they're bad and we shouldn't do them. But when you objectively look at it, when you leave, you're like, that's stupid. Like, that is the dumbest thing ever. I really think that they just don't want people to have any sort of praise or glory ever put on them. Because again, I've mentioned this so many times in my videos, but like they pound it into your head. You're a good for nothing slave. You are good for nothing. You are good for nothing. So let's not celebrate you because you're good for nothing. I mean, they even talk about in one of these articles, there was a question from readers, which are question from readers really true? I don't know. I kind of think that they made up these questions from readers. So if you're not familiar, back in the day in the watchtowers, they would have these little sections called questions from readers, where supposedly a Jehovah's Witness would send in a question and they would answer it. So this question, many of Jehovah's Witnesses observe wedding anniversaries. A birthday is an anniversary of when you were born. So why celebrate wedding anniversaries and not birthday anniversaries? Okay. This is the opening the opening thing it says. Frankly, there is no need for a Christian to celebrate either. Still, that does not mean the two are equal. It's like they don't want you celebrating anything. They do talk about, like, because Jehovah's Witnesses celebrate wedding anniversaries, and they're like, that's fine because you're like, your marriage is as important, almost as important as like your commitment to God, as in like when you get baptized. But they still tell you it should not be a reason, like your wedding anniversary should not be a reason to throw a party and go extravagant. Like should be more so something between you as a couple or with your little family. So again, even that, it's like they're dictating all of that. There's your answer to the birthday question. Does it make sense? No. But their reasoning is like, because there's no good examples of birthdays in the Bible, then therefore they're wrong. So, but I will say, we're now 2 years into birthdays and no one has been beheaded at any of those birthdays. So maybe they got it wrong. Okay. As far as other holidays go, we'll talk about Christmas first. So Christmas is, in the Christian world, people believe that Jesus was born on Christmas, and that is why they celebrate it. Christmas has turned into more of some people call it commercialized because you're supposed to buy all these gifts and it's extravagant and over the top. But for the most part, people are celebrating because it's a time for family to be together. It's a time where you travel to be with family. If your kids are grown, they come home with their families. It is truly just a beautiful time for families to be together and celebrate and have their traditions, okay? But the Jehovah's Witnesses say, one, Jesus wasn't born in that, therefore it's wrong. And it's also got pagan backgrounds. Like every holiday has pagan backgrounds, therefore they are all bad. But at the same time, like, what is the modern day Christmas? Is it pagan? No. Are you sacrificing stuff? No. What is your intention of celebrating? Again, I'm very much about intention behind everything. I don't understand why that is such a hard concept. So every holiday they will have articles about the pagan origins, the fact that they are linked somehow to the occult, usually in some way, and a true Christian would not want to celebrate any of these. I'm talking about like everything. As far as other holidays, like in the United States, 4th of July, you don't celebrate that because you're supposed to be politically neutral. You shouldn't care about which country you live in. So why would you celebrate your country? It's stupid. Why don't you celebrate Thanksgiving? I don't know, because we're not thankful. We're not thankful. Why should we be thankful? But Jehovah's Witnesses all do pretty much have turkey on Thanksgiving, and their families all together. So they technically are kind of celebrating in my opinion. So there, the bottom line is they don't celebrate because they think everything is pagan. And as far as birthdays go, because the only 2 birthdays in the Bible, someone was killed or beheaded, and it was a horrible thing, and it was viewed negatively in the Bible. Therefore, that means God doesn't want you doing it. So there you go. I'm trying to think if there's, I think I answered most of the questions I got. I rambled a lot as per usual. I'll do another one of these again if like I didn't answer a question you've left for me somewhere. I had like questions kind of across all different boards, so I may have missed stuff, but I feel like that's probably a good place to end. A lot of my questions have been like, what religion are you now? What are your religious beliefs now? And my answer to that for the time being is I don't know. I am on a spiritual journey and I'm figuring it out. I am reading my Bible. I am leaning more that direction. I'm feeling a pull towards Jesus, and I'm going with that. I do not have a complete hatred towards God. I do not have a hatred towards religion. I don't think I'll ever be a part of an organized religion. But again, it is just a spiritual evolution right now for me. I will never be completely shut down to God. I'm never going to be like super Christian or super atheist. Like I feel like I will always be somewhere in that middle, and I'm figuring out where I want to be and what I believe in. And we'll see what happens. Maybe one day I'll go to the church near us and take you along with me, because I am intrigued. I was watching like they stream online on Sundays, and I was watching a little bit of today, and the music was just beautiful. And I was like, okay, I like this. So I don't know. Who knows what'll happen, everybody? I am not putting pressure on myself to make that decision or to figure that out anytime soon. I spent 35 years in a religion and being told it was the one true religion, and I feel like if it takes me another, 10 to 15 years to figure out my full beliefs, I think that's acceptable after being force-fed something for that long. So there was my Q&A. Hopefully I answered one of your questions on this. Again, if you have other questions, leave it on this video. I am going to work on another video with that 1914 generation teaching, because I don't understand it. And I feel like the world needs to hear this because it's so weird and stupid. And Jehovah's Witnesses have basically said, like, those people living in a 1914 wouldn't die. And then, they started dying. And they're like, well, we're changing this new light. The generation overlapping that generation won't pass. And I'm like, I think we're nearing the end of that one. So let's see what new light they come up with this year. They always do like their annual meeting, which is usually when new light comes out in October. So we will patiently wait for that to happen and see what new light they may have this year. As always, thank you guys for supporting me. Thank you guys for all the kind comments, and the love and the support, and just I still am getting people reaching out to me, whether it's email or on my social media, and you guys are all amazing. I feel like I'm building my own community within this community, and I'm loving it. So keep reaching out. If you need someone to talk to, come to me. If I can answer anything for you, I will do my best to do that. For those who are in the process of leaving, I know how hard it is. Give yourself grace. Do those things I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Get yourself therapy. You cannot take on this trauma by yourself. Like, there's just no way you can. I am a firm believer that you have to have the support you need to get out of this healthy and to heal the right way. Don't ever, my therapist always told me, don't ever downplay the amount of trauma that being raised in this organization causes, as well as leaving it causes. Don't downplay that. Get the help you might need. Find someone to talk to. There are so many like therapists. You can do virtual visits, so you don't even have to leave your home. And start building your own community again as quickly as you can. That is going to be a huge help for you. It makes it less lonely. It gives you people to help you when you need it, to support you when you need it. And it just will help you to see that, like, the real world again is there's good people in there. and you don't have to be alone, and you don't have to be miserable, and you don't have to be the stories, the fake stories they put out there of, oh, they left and became drug addicts and living on the street. No, you don't have to do that. You can have a beautiful life outside of this and have great people in it and thrive more so than even in that organization. So I don't know where I was going with that. I'm rambling today. Gosh, what's new? Alissa rambling. So thanks for being here. Again, if you have more questions, ask them below. I'll do another Q&A maybe in like a month or so if I get more questions through. I was gonna have Lance record with me today, and he is relaxing, and I'm giving him his relaxing time because it is his birthday weekend. And I have some videos I took of the birthday that I'll do in like a vlog this next week, and we'll see where we go from there. So there you go. That is my video for the day. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.